Welcome to Shovelware Diggers. Our dig team is currently within the final weeks of excavating the Softkey Shareware 2000 Hit Games 2CD collection. You can find a link in the video description detailing the entire directory structure of this archive. Here's what our diggers have for week 298. Our Shovelware diggers will be going on indefinite hiatus after week 300, following which will be a new series called No Nostalgia Retro Gaming, where Patreon supporters will be selecting retro games for me to play for my very first time, with this initial run of the series focused on the Commodore 64, a retro computer system I have almost no experience with. For more information on how to join the game selections for this upcoming series, simply follow the Patreon link in the video description. Now, without further ado, let's get to it. First up, John Gibson has dug up WINGAMES /NEWWIN /HMan10. This is clearly going to be a hangman game of some kind. HMan10. File id.diz, couple bitmaps, vendor doc, executable, help, and a readme with no extension, which is always very annoying. Anyways, well, there's our file id.diz, hangman word puzzle game. And that's all you need to know. No author, no release info, nope, just hangman word puzzle game. Okay, let's see if we can get this readme open. So I think the simplest way to do this is just temporarily rename it to readme.txt. I can name it back afterwards. Anyways, installation, following installation instructions below. Apparently this was from a Cannel Run Incorporated out of New York. Yeah, that's all the information we have to go on here. Although one thing I find hilarious is that it's telling you to do the extraction and everything before you even start Windows. So yeah, Windows 3.1 has some okay file management things going on, but any kind of advanced things, you really don't want to be using the file manager. At least not the original one. The original one's simpler if you're just doing like individual files. Groups of files, not so much. But anyways, so let's rename this back to the plain readme without an extension it was. And I guess we're just going to run it. Okay, so we've got Hangman Shareware version 1.0, copyright 94, Cannel Run Incorporated. Apparently the registration is $5. This is pretty bad. Okay, so like, I mean, the way these pixels are right here, this bitmap's clearly been stretched. In fact, one thing we could check right away is if the actual bitmap itself is the stretch dither is baked into the bitmap. Oh geez, how did that happen? Like, you don't do something like that by accident. Someone intentionally decided to stretch the bitmap, save it stretched, and thought that that was going to be good. Oh boy. Okay, what we got here? We got help, which brings up, typical help stuff. Apparently you can put custom words into the thing, so that makes sense. Word list file can contain up to 1,500 words. Should be one word per line with no preceding or trailing blanks. And word can be up to 20 characters long. Okay. Apparently we've got level 1, level 2, and level 3. I'm going to guess this probably just affects... Whoops. Actually, I should probably center that a little better. I'm guessing this affects how many misses you can make before the man is hung, as it were. Anyways, new game. Okay, I was like half expecting... Oh no, wait, it is. Okay, so it is showing the number of characters in the word. I guess maybe level 1 is just easier words. Like if I set it to level 3. Okay, I set it to level 3 and it's still giving me a 4-letter word. Okay, there's a bigger word. Okay, let's see if we can guess what this word is. I'm going to start by putting in an E. There are no E's in this word. That's a pretty big word to not have an E in it. In that case, I'm going to go for an A. Okay, we've got a single A, I. Okay, we've got a single I. There's still way too much space. There's got to be more vowels. Well, there's no O. And there's no U? What? We have a 10-letter word with only 2 vowels in it? Does such a word even exist? Okay, the only thing I can think of is that there's going to be some serious consonant leads going on. So maybe like a double L or something? No, there's no L's. Double S? Okay. Okay, we're making some progress here. I'm going to guess there's going to be an H. No. What the heck is this? Okay, I made my last guess and it's saying, sorry, the solution is gymnastics. That was a pretty clever word to choose, because yeah, it's a 10-letter word with 2 vowels. Well, I guess Y might technically be counting as a vowel in this case, but yeah. Oh, and it turns out the face is the last part that gets put on the man being hung. Now that was on level 3. Now if I go to level 1, hit new game, start putting in just random letters. Okay, that's interesting. So it actually did take more guesses for the man to be completely hung, because the hands and the feet were done separately from the rest of the body. So I'm guessing each level up just simply decreases the total number of guesses you're allowed by 1 each. So, okay, got another big word here, so let's see what we got. There's got to be an E in it. Maybe? Holy jeez, did we get another word without an E? Actually, here's a funny question. Did we get the same word again? Okay, there's no Y's in it, so no, we didn't get the same word again. Although whatever we got, it only has these 3 vowels. There might be a U in it, but I'm not convinced. I think my next guess is going to be an N? Okay. Now, if not for the fact that I already picked an I would think that an I would be here, and then maybe a T before that. Although there might be a T in this one anyways. Yeah, I'm gonna guess the T. Okay, so it is ending in ton. So what's the rest of it? Actually, I think this is Washington. And yeah, this is Washington. Congratulations, you win. There we go. And I only made 2 wrong guesses. Okay, apparently you can have really long phrases or something that have spaces in them, because that's not just a single word. Okay. So yeah, I was about to end this and then that happened. So yeah, this is Hangman. Not a bad Hangman game. Aside from the fact that the background is that. Like, I mean, you clearly had the graphical capability to stretch this, to bake that into a bitmap. Like, why not just, like, Windows has the ability to automatically stretch stuff. Heck, it has the ability to automatically dither stuff. You could have taken the original image. Well, you know what? Maybe the author didn't have the original image. Maybe the author only had the dithered image and just figured, I want this bigger, and just had to end up stretching it or something. So yeah, that was Hangman. Very simple Hangman game. Author wanted $5. You know what? It's $5 software. Next up, we have a team dig from James Dunn, Saint of Streets, and Christian Topnick. WINGAMES /NEWWIN2 /WinRob11. Okay, probably something to do with robots, if I had to guess. WinRob11. That is a lot of WAV files. Well, we're in for a treat for the ears. Maybe. I got an order form, got some DLLs, a contest thing? Okay. Now what's the file ID.this say? Robot Battle, version 1.1. Design a robot to crush all challengers. To survive, your robot must have better tactics, intelligence, and adaptability than all others. Can you outthink and outgun your opponents? This is the place to find out. Watch your animated robots come to life and battle it out with stunning sound effects. Supports Windows 3.1 and NT. Contest is planned to find the best robot. Complete online help and docs. Interesting. So, this might be a bit to this, but I guess we're going to find out. Got a readme.txt. And apparently we got a copyright here of 1994 by a Brad Schick. So let's see what we got. About the game. Can you design a robot to best all challengers? To survive, your robot must have better tactics, intelligence, and adaptability than all others. Okay, we've already read that. And apparently in matches of 1 to 65,500 games. Why would you ever want to play this 65,500 times in a row? In fact, how long would that take? Holy jeez. Hang on. This says robots are created using a simple scripting language that is clearly described in online help. All you need is an ASCII text editor and an imagination. Although helpful, no previous programming knowledge is required. In fact, Robot Battle is a great way to start learning how to program. Most modern computer systems are based on event-driven techniques, very similar to those you'll learn playing Robot Battle. So this is basically going to be like Omega, which was a game I covered quite a while back, where you basically used a built-in scripting language to make tanks that shot each other up, but using their own AI because you didn't have direct control. So this sounds like that's what it's going to be like. And like one of the earliest examples of a game like that would be Code Wars, but Code Wars was very basic in its function. And so, or was it Core Wars? Code Wars or Core Wars? I keep getting those two mixed up because I think both exist, but I'm not sure which one is the one I'm thinking about. At least it comes with some sample robots, so we don't have to spend time programming anything here. Oh, I can't say I haven't seen this error in a long time. The file manual.txt is too large for Notepad. And it ain't kidding. 83 freaking kilobytes. Holy jeez. Yeah. I guess we're just gonna have to open Write and then Windows Write and just do it that way. Where's my stuff here? Accessories, Write. Okay, so this manual is just a reference manual in terms of the programming language. And also apparently the contest. And apparently what the contest was planning was $700 for the winner and $120 for each place down to 6th. Huh. Like, I mean, like, that's kind of ambitious, because it says here assuming 200 entrants. But the thing is like, you would really need to get your game out there in order for there to be that many people. And apparently it also costs $10 to enter your robot into the contest, and that's apparently where the prize distribution is coming from here. Yeah, this math doesn't add up to $2,000. So that's a little sketchy. But to be fair, I don't know where this contest was being held or anything like that. Or I might say in the contact area here. Chicago, Illinois. So whatever your lottery laws are like in Chicago, Illinois, or your contest laws, then that would kind of dictate how much of that entry money is going to have to go back. Or go into how much has to be used in terms... There's a lot of stuff that goes on with contest rules and stuff that you have to be wary of. Although I still haven't figured out how much the registration fee even was. Here's the order form. The registration fee is $25. So not only are you paying $25 just to play the program properly, but then an additional $10 if you wanted to register for that contest. Oh, jeez. Okay, let's try to actually play this thing. Okay, well, we're very aware that clearly was not a stolen sound effect. But let's see here. Okay, so we got our main screen. What? Okay, I have never come across a window in a Windows game that is very oddly done in terms of sizing. So this is apparently the maximized size, yet it has a resizable border which doesn't respond to clicks. So we can't actually click and drag the border, despite the fact that it looks maximized. But we also have the restore button, because it's currently in a maximized state, and this turns it into this. And now you can resize it, but all it does is just leave the thing centered. And then the maximize just brings us back to this. That is weird. Okay, so let's see what's in the setup here. We got game speed, going slow to fast. We got timeouts, animation, and sound effects. Okay, so nothing too outrageous there. We got an exit button for when we're done. And then new, start, and end. So I guess if we hit new, okay, we select our robots. And then we can also... Okay, so yeah, you can set the colors of the robots as well. Can we set the same color to multiple? Apparently we can. Let's see what we got here. So we got corners, events, fire, rammer, shell, side, and target as our built-in programs, or the ones that came with this. Unfortunately, that's 7. So someone's gonna have to be left out. Just based on these names, I'm gonna guess fire is probably the least interesting of these. So we're going to put in everybody except fire. Let's actually start here. So apparently our robots have been positioned. We've got what looks like health levels, I'm guessing. So I guess start. Okay, so watching this, clearly the tank that doesn't know what it's doing is the shell tank. In fact, the shell tank seems to just be sitting there doing absolutely nothing. And even target doesn't seem to really be doing much. So yeah, that didn't go so well for a lot of them. Oh, and the game still plays despite that? That was kind of weird. So yeah, shell, we're going to replace the shell tank with fire. Okay, and this time let's set the game count to, say, 3. Or 3. 3 games to play. Current round will be cancelled, that is fine. Okay, now let's start it. Okay, so right away we're seeing that this actually goes really fast. Okay, so the first round's already over. Yeah, they're really going at it. Apparently Events really doesn't know how to do much of anything. Events just gets killed very quickly. And yeah, the other thing I've noticed too is that there is actually collision damage in here. And in this case, it looks like Fire and Sideliner are right down to their last hit point. And because they're down to their last hit point, they don't have the energy to attack. Oh, is this just gonna sit here forever like this? Oh boy. Wait, never mind. Fire actually grabbed a power-up that raised its energy back up. Okay, so we have our final results here. Sideliner actually won the most stuff out of here. I don't exactly know how it's doing the points here, because basically it's measuring the number of first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth places. So yeah, that was Robot Battle. This is kind of interesting, really, but I'm not sure how much this progressed or how many people know anything about this one. Like, it can be hard to tell with this old shareware sometimes, like, just how many people actually got involved with it or anything. Or let's put it this way, there was clearly some passion put into this, so it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of people were aware of this particular game. But as it stands, like, I mean, the actual amount of combat going on there, like the framing of the combat, it's kind of random when it comes down to it, really. Like, I mean, I know these kinds of games like this do have some randomness to it, but this one just sort of feels like maybe it's too random. But, I don't know. This wasn't really something I grew up with. I didn't grow up playing these programming type games because my first introduction to programming was actual programming. So, yeah, it's an interesting little thing. I'm just not sure how well it would hold someone's interest compared to some of the other games out there that are better known than this one, where it's all about programming your own thing and watching it do battle. Next up from Paul Cheer, we've got WINGAMES /GG/Ring. I'm gonna guess a puzzle game of some kind. Ring, right there. Ooh, that is very tiny. This might not be much of anything. Well, text file. So files you should have. Ring.txt, this file. And ring.exe. Drip program? strip program. What does it even mean by that? Ring is a program for Windows 3.x which always remains iconic. Tiny a phone appears on your desktop. To activate, click on the phone with your right mouse button. You'll hear a phone ringing and the phone's receiver will move. Okay, and apparently this was $5 to register, even though the program is technically freeware. The $5 basically gets you all of these, and one of which sounds like it just shows a topless woman. So, at least that's not the one we're looking at here. This is going to be super basic. We got a telephone in the corner, you right click, and there you go. This is literally all this thing does. And since that was basically nothing, Paul Scheer gets a second dig. WINGAMES /GG/KINGSCAS? I'm thinking maybe like King's Casket or something? Like maybe like the tomb of a king or something? I don't know. Either way, I think this might be Egyptian themed. Where is it? KINGSCAS. Well, that's a lot of save files and a lot of bitmap files even. Holy jeez. I think there might be dragons here. Because that definitely seems like might be a dragon. Yeah, a lot of bitmap files. We got setup, expand, so it's probably installation stuff, even though there's a setup right there. Oh, the setup one here actually has the compressed files, the underscores. At least I think it does. That says 1.35 megs, and this is 3.9. So yeah, that was actually the compressed files in there. Yeah, why there's a bunch of save files? That just seems a little odd. So I guess we can try running it. Do we have any like documentation? We got a KCS rules. Okay, there's a README in the install folder, or the setup folder. So King's Casino Solitaire. Okay, that's... Wait. Seriously? Seriously. This is a solitaire game made for Windows 3.1 that is loaded with bitmap files and takes up 3.9 megs. Okay, that's not excessive in the slightest. Well, let's see what the README says. Thanks so much for purchasing King's Casino. No more crippled game frustrations. Wait, do we actually have wares here? Do we have wares of some individual's attempt to do a solitaire game? This might be a problem. So it's saying here, your letter of registration that comes with your installation diskette contains your customer number and your registration code. You do need to enter this code in order to activate the registered version of King's Casino Solitaire you received on your installation diskette. So it's possible that the game might work in a shareware mode despite this, in which case the game technically isn't wares, but technically is because it was included as... Yeah, I don't know. This is a very weird situation, potentially. I did find the order form here, though, and apparently this software was $16.50. And it says here, fully functional version, price includes taxes for Canadians. So does that mean this was for... Yeah, this was made here in Canada. Anyways, let's actually just try running it. So here we go, King's Casino Solitaire, release 2.06. And it says here, copyright 94, DL Cotton, all rights reserved. And apparently a part of this is a DLL made by Stephen Murphy and Daniel DiBianco. It's actually hard to read that from where I'm sitting. Yeah, this has clearly been put into an evaluation mode. It says here the first 3 games are fully functional, and that games marked with a tilde are limited to 25 moves. So that's kind of a ballsy thing to do, because Windows comes with a solitaire program. So limiting your own solitaire program to 25 moves means it had better be very, very expressive in that short amount of time. And apparently we're starting with this as our background. This doesn't look like professionally drawn stuff. This looks like clip art. Oh boy. Does it maximize? Okay, it does maximize. And whatever this pattern is, it's actually repeating. That or is it repeating? Well, in any case, we can do We got our help screen here. That's just the about screen again. Table of contents gives us rules and instructions for each game. So apparently there might be more than one different kind of game in here. Yeah, there's more than one kind of game in here. In fact, that is a very long list of games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 22 flavors of Solitaire in this program. What I was saying previously about being ballsy about having move limits in a Solitaire game makes sense if you only had one flavor of Solitaire. We have 22 flavors of Solitaire in this 1650 game. So that's actually kind of impressive. What's not impressive is that Klondike, the one that is included by default with Windows, is one of the ones that's limited to 25 moves. And yeah, you can save games in progress, you can load game. There were a whole bunch of saves already there, so somebody was trying this out beforehand. Like, look at this. These save files are not supposed to come with the game by default. So someone was having their fun before this ended up getting uploaded to a BBS or whatever. And again, it was the registered version that was uploaded, but clearly the game, without having that registration information put in, operates in a shareware mode. So, okay, so I guess it's not Wares then, but it came from a registered source regardless. And apparently we can change some visuals here. So, okay, that's neat. We can actually have the background random for each game. We can just have a solid color, or we've got some pictures here. So, oh, it's not going to update it immediately? Okay, well, we'll just look at it here then. So we got that little display, got some dragons there. That's the one that we're on, and no, it doesn't look like it's repeating. So it's just filling as much of the space as there is, and it just happens to be larger so that it can account for a larger monitor. So yeah, I didn't think it was repeating because, again, this looks like clip art. I guess we'll just leave it on random, and then we've got our card decks. So we've got, it looks to be a griffin, I think. We got a more traditional one, another more traditional one, some mountains, another more traditional one, and a close-up of the griffin. Well, let's set it to change each game and we'll see what we get. So we also have behaviors. So single click on card for default move seems to be turned off by default. Fast computer card move, show bottom line status bar. Confirm abandoning unfinished games, see through card pile markers, and number of shuffles to start game. And there's even a statistics thing here. So it's actually measuring the odds of winning a particular game. Like, that's interesting. Like, Klondike here is showing 25 to 1 to win the game. Like, I mean, if this seems to be making itself out to be like casino-based rules, which means it's going to be limited in terms of what you're allowed to do. Like, if you go into, let's minimize this for a second. If you go into Windows Solitaire, you'll notice that that it's saying here negative $52, and that's because I actually have it set to Vegas scoring. And now, one of the interesting things that happens here when you have it on Vegas scoring is that if I scroll through all the cards here and get to the end, notice how there's a big X there as opposed to a green circle. Like, normally when you're playing this game, like, I'll go back into the options, go back to standard scoring. Normally, when you go through all the cards here, what ends up happening is you get a green circle. And the green circle means, oh, you reached the end. So if you want to go back to the start, you just click here and you're back to the start of the pile. That doesn't happen with the Vegas mode on. Because with the Vegas mode on, the idea is you get one shot at that pile, and when it's done, you're done. So I imagine it's going to be a similar situation in here. Now, unfortunately, the only ones we're allowed to play all the way through are these first three here, which I do not recognize at all. But one of the ones I do recognize is Pyramid. So let's do Pyramid. Okay. Well, that's interesting that it's showing some kind of weird triangle thing here. I'm guessing that's probably the pile that we're going to be putting our 13s into, and that this is the pile we're pulling from, maybe? I don't know. Anyways, let's actually try to play it properly. It did not start me with good cards at the bottom here. In fact, that is a terrible selection. Holy jeez. I mean, we can do the Jack and the 2. Okay, and so yeah, this is the card that's on the top of whatever here, and then this is the pile that we're pulling off to. Okay. And then Kings just go straight onto the thing. We don't have to worry about them. And it actually shows us right down at the bottom here that our moves left are 22 in this crippled version of the game, so we're not going to be able to get too far here. Although we got a queen and an ace here, so let's do that. And that pulls that off. That reveals 3 there, which we can pull off with that 10. And then in 7 we need a 6 for, so that's not going to work. We got another queen, which can get rid of that ace. And 8 and 5, and that gets us access to that 4. And if we do the 9 and 4 here, that gets us to 6 and 7. And then that doesn't help. So yeah, what we really need is another one of the 4s, but unfortunately one of them is already on the board, so that makes it a little less likely that we're going to hit one. And yeah, the situation we're in right now, we only have access to 3 cards on the board, 2 of which are 9s, so this is probably not going to go well. And we got a king there. Okay, Jack and... Oh, we hit the end of our moves. Never mind. Well, this game was going terrible anyways, so... And yeah, that's another way we know that this game's been played a bit, because it's reminding us here that this wouldn't happen with the first 3 games we played. But the thing is, this was the very first game we played, and as a result, we're not allowed to progress any further. At least I don't think it's going... Yeah, no. So I guess we could actually take a look at how some of these look. Like Baroness here, like abandoned game, yes. So we can see what the Baroness layout is going to be. We can see what the calculation layout's going to be, which chose a border that... Huh. You would think that if the game was maximized like this and there was the smaller... Like that, I guess that's why there's the different backgrounds here, but if they're different sizes, then you should have some way to detect that and not show the smaller size when it doesn't make sense. Now we got Canfield here, which looks like that. And then we got Bristol, which looks like that. So yeah, there's a lot of flavors of Solitaire here. Klondike is going to be very basic. Yep, this is pretty much what I was expecting. Although this one is doing it so that it's 3 cards pulled, which I find with Vegas scoring is a very bad recipe. I understand the 25-to-1 odds now for winning this combination. So yeah, that was King's Casino Solitaire. This is a very impressive selection of Solitaire games in a single program at a price point that's actually reasonable. Especially when you consider how many Solitaire type games were trying to sell themselves for like $10 or $12 for just 1. And here we have 22. The only complaint I would have is that, well, 1, the random background selection doesn't always select a background that fills the whole screen area, which I guess that's kind of a very minor bug, really. And then the other thing that's just a little weird is that, like, this is tricky to explain, but when we go into, say, the options here, we have options for visuals and behaviors, and the behaviors here are just very basic things, right? Like, this has set itself up to be some of the most difficult Solitaire out there. Like, we can't, if we go back to Klondike here, we can't play Klondike in your standard way. Like, if we go through all of these cards here, oh, it is actually allowing us to rotate through them. Okay, that's not the way I would have expected that to work, but either way, it's not like allowing full options in terms of what you can do with these games, which, again, it's not really that bad a thing given the fact that it's included so many variations of Solitaire in one program. So, all things considered, this is a very extensive program for what it is. The price point is not bad, at least for when it came out, and yeah, I don't really have any major complaints about it, just minor ones. So if you want lots of Solitaire, then this was probably a good option for that.